Yo, welcome to another episode of A Chapter a Day to Keep the Devil Away. I am Tanaya Shea, and this is the place where we read a chapter of the Bible every day until we finish the entire thing. Today, we are going to be reading Genesis chapter 32. If you haven't read Genesis chapter 31, go do that. Watch the video from yesterday. But for now, we are going to get started. Chapter 32. As Jacob started on his way again, angels of God came to meet him. When Jacob saw them, he exclaimed, "This is God's camp." So he named the place Mahanaim. Jacob sends gifts to Esau. Then Jacob sent messengers ahead to his brother Esau, who was living in the region of Seir, in the land of Edom. He told them, "Give this message to my master Esau. Humble greetings from your servant Jacob. Until now, I have been living with Uncle Laban, and now I own cattle, donkeys, flocks of sheep and goats, and many servants, both men and women. I have sent these messengers to inform my lord of my coming, hoping that you will be friendly to me." After delivering the message, the messengers returned to Jacob and reported, "We met your brother Esau, and he is already on his way to meet you with an army of 400 men. Jacob was terrified at the news. He divided his household along with the flocks and herds and camels into two groups. He thought, if Esau meets one group and attacks it, perhaps the other group can escape. Then Jacob prayed, "O God of my grandfather Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, O Lord, you told me, return to your own land and to your relatives, and you promised me, I will treat you kindly. I am not worthy of all the unfailing love and faithfulness you have shown to me, your servant. When I left home and crossed the Jordan River, I owned nothing except a walking stick. Now my household fills two large camps. O Lord, please rescue me from the hand of my brother Esau. I am afraid that he is coming to attack me, along with my wives and children. But you promised me, I will surely treat you kindly, and I will multiply your descendants until they become as numerous as the sands along the seashore, too many to count." Jacob stayed where he was for the night. Then he selected these gifts from his possessions to present to his brother Esau: 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 male donkeys. He divided these animals into herds and assigned each to different servants. Then he told his servants, "Go ahead of me with the animals, but keep some distance between the herds." He gave these instructions to the men leading the first group: "When my brother Esau meets you, he will ask, 'Whose servant are you? Where are you going? Who owns these animals?' You must reply, 'They belong to your servant Jacob, but they are a gift for his master Esau. Look, he is coming right behind us.'" Jacob gave the same instructions to the second and third herdsmen and to all who followed behind the herds. "You must say the same thing to Esau when you meet him, and be sure to say, 'Look, your servant Jacob is right behind us.'" Jacob thought, "I will try to appease him by sending gifts ahead of me. When I see him in person, perhaps he will be friendly to me." So the gifts were sent on ahead, while Jacob himself spent that night in the camp. Jacob wrestles with God. During the night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 servant wives, and his 11 sons, and crossed the Jabbok River with them. After taking them to the other side, he sent over all his possessions. This left Jacob all alone in the camp, and a man came and wrestled with him until the dawn began to break. When the man saw that he would not win the match, he touched Jacob's hip and wrenched it out of its socket. Then the man said, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." "What is your name?" the man asked. He replied, "Jacob." "Your name will no longer be Jacob," the man told him. "From now on, you will be called Israel, because you have fought with God and with men and have won. Please tell me your name, Jacob said. Why do you want to know my name? The man replied. Then he blessed Jacob there. Jacob named the place Peniel, which means face of God. For he said, I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been spared. The sun was rising as Jacob left Peniel, and he was limping because of the injury to his hip. Even today, the people of Israel don't eat the tendon near the hip socket because of what happened that night when the man strained the tendon of Jacob's hip. One thing I love about this passage, the encounter between the man that wrestles with Jacob, or God, as it says in the text. It feels like in this moment, Jacob, I feel like, is always looking for an opportunity to get something, favor, the birthright, wealth in general. And so it kind of looks like that same pattern. I won't let you go until you bless me. But then the response is, what is your name? And I love that in this moment, it feels like Jacob is, he's about to see his brother again. He's been deceived a few times. He's deceived people a few times. There's this confrontation that I feel like is taking place between Jacob and who he is. His name, meaning heel grabber or deceiver. What is your name? In my mind, and this is, I guess, speculative, I don't think the guy's asking what's your name because he doesn't know who he is. He says, your name is no longer Jacob, right? Like, you've confronted who you are. You have a new name now. And I feel like that was so healing for Jacob. I imagine that it was so healing for Jacob. And I think it's just amazing that's often, I feel like, what God does for us. He has us confront who we are. And not only does he have us confront that, but he also gives us a new name. We were once dead in our sin, but through the love of Jesus and his grace and what was finished on the cross, we can take on that new name and be children of God. Once enemies, made friends because of the work of the cross. And I just think it's important to remember that as we go through the Old Testament. Like, we know where this is heading, and if you don't know, that's where it's heading. We have an identity that we were born into, and the cross allows us to step into that new identity. And I think that is so cool to see that moment for Jacob, and just to imagine what that was like for him, to know who he is and what he has done, and the harm that has caused, and the chaos that has shown up in his life as a result of it. And obviously there've been some benefits too here and there, but for that man to say as a blessing to him, you don't go by that name anymore. You're not a heel grabber, you're not a deceiver. You are somebody who has contended with God and men, and you have won. To go from deceiver to victor is pretty cool. And it just makes me think of maybe the takeaways, to think of, if you are in Christ already, like, who were you before and who are you now? I would love, if you want to talk about that in the comments, feel free to talk about that. Share your testimony in the comments and be a blessing to somebody out there. And remember, and if you're not in Christ yet, if that's not something that you're open to, you're here. And you've heard his word, and there's an invitation to, if you're not satisfied with who you've been, if you're confronting the realities of who you are and want something different, know that there's a new name, there's a new life, there's a new hope for you waiting with the relationship that Jesus has for you. Okay, that's all I got. Peace.